a couple of things before I jump into things. So we're going to talk a little bit about AI in the real world, okay? I know there's a lot of stuff talked about software, all this great stuff, ChatGPT. You're likely involved in some sort of manufacturing company. Let's talk about how AI can actually help you there. That's what we're going to spend the time talking about. A couple of things. My name is Joseph, by the way, in case you didn't hear. If at any time you would like to get in touch with me, I will not contact you unless you want to contact me. I've got cards up here, and that is my email address, industry@ddn.com. You can also email me at fieldcto@ddn.com. If there's anything of interest here, drop me a note. And I will say also that, look at that guy. I will say that I'm here till the end of the week, and I'm here with our CTOs and our architects. Literally, if you have a particular use case you're trying to drive, a particular business problem you're trying to solve in your company, let's find some room. Let's find 30 minutes. Let's find a whiteboard. Let's map some of this stuff out. I only have about 10 minutes here today, so I'm not going to be able to go through in detail, but I would love to go in grave detail with you. And like I said, there's cards up here. I'll actually put it here on this chair so you don't feel like you have to come up to the front. But let me jump in real quick, and we'll just get into it. So let's talk about manufacturing, all right? What has been going on in manufacturing for the last few years? Industry 4.0, right? It's a beautiful thing to kind of learn what's going on. Does anybody know what Industry 1.0 is? See, these are the questions people should be asking. What's 1.0, 2.0, 3.0? So 1.0 really has to do with like the steam engine and things like that. Secondly is when like electricity was created. Third was like when we started getting more of these big corporate machines to actually do things. And Industry 4.0 is now using data to leverage and activate those things to build. So that's where Industry 4.0. If you didn't learn anything else, you're going to learn that today, okay? But there's a lot that's going on because so much is driven by sensors, because so much we're carrying around in our phones is giving information out to these companies. These are things that we should be using. Supply chains, as we may think about it, is you get this much stuff, do this thing here, do this next thing here, put it out the door. Supply chains are now getting circular, where when you go to step 2 in that process, you start looking at what you can actually revert and use again. What can I reuse? What can I repeat? So a lot of that's happening already. It has nothing to do with AI. It's already happening that way. All right. So and there's a whole bunch of other stuff. Data and AI is starting to become very, very important here. And as manufacturers, what you have to think about is, what are your customers worried about the most? They're going to spend the most investment on your products. What they don't want is to regret that mistake. They don't want that. They want to make a good decision because they've got like 10,000 other decisions to make too. So this is kind of where we need to go. And we've got the tools as manufacturers to actually help them do that. So one of the things that are coming, how many people here have heard of the term digital twin? Okay. Digital twin essentially is you can manufacture on a computer, on a digital twin system, what anything will be from a manufacturing perspective in every angle. So one of the great stories is NVIDIA's headquarters down in San Jose, across the country in San Jose, was actually fully designed by a digital twin on computer first before they built anything. And if you ever go to the site, if you go look at the ceiling, if you look at the ceiling here, you can see kind of it's very level. Everything's kind of very structured. If you go to NVIDIA's headquarters, you'll see that the ceiling is very slanted in certain places. You'll see plants everywhere because they were trying to maximize how much sunlight they could leverage so that they wouldn't have to overuse the amount of electrical light they had to. So when you go there, and if you go there, you'll see, if you go look at the ceiling, and they're very comfortable talking about this, so you can actually go talk to them about this, but Digital Twin helped them manufacture their facility before they had a single prototype built, before they let a single brick touch the ground. Yes, sir.
Have you ever heard of Frank Lloyd Wright?
I have heard of Frank Lloyd Wright, yes. Yeah. Is that right? With sunlight and everything? Well, listen, we can talk about the theories that AI machines have been around. They just know how to do time travel. Glass rod ceiling. So this is the kind of thing you should be doing, because think about how much time and energy and expense and resource you spend on getting a prototype in place and making sure that you're testing it. It's smaller scale. You're not going to see all the things that could happen at a much larger scale. But when you do a digital twin, you can incorporate those dimensions so you can see what pressure and temperature and a bunch of other factors will actually add to it, okay? So let me tell you about what's happening with AI when you implement some of these things. There are people trying to do some things. Maybe Frank Lohr would right if he's not AI, if he was not AI. There's ways to manage this right now, but it's very, very, very manual, okay? And a lot of you might have some of these things. Like scheduled maintenance plans, I have not met a manufacturer that does not have a scheduled maintenance plan. But here's what happens with scheduled maintenance plans. They're good, but sometimes you go and check a system out, it's not broken, it's not malfunctioning, there's no problems. So you check it off and you move to the next one. If you have scheduled, it's good until something goes wrong, and then you got to jump in and mix. So what we're seeing is you're not able to tell real time what's happening with your actual manufacturing plant, what's happening with your products on the conveyor belt. You're not able to react quickly, okay? And this is what's important. Now I'm going to fly through some of this. I'll tell you what I'm going to say on the next slide. I'm going to talk through how the stack works. The DDN products are fantastic, but it is a piece of the solution, okay? The NVIDIA products are fantastic, but they are a piece of the solution. If you're trying to solve a way, you're trying to address a way to get your manufacturing product with higher quality, then you're going to want to build a digital twin. It's going to require software. It will require infrastructure. And that's what I would love to talk to you about. Quick reminder again, if you want to talk with me this week, I would love to chat with you. My email's at the bottom here. You can grab a card as well or find me right after. And we'll go through this in grave detail. If you've got a half a day, we'll go through it in grave detail with architects and so forth. But let's talk about the stack at a high level, and then we'll kind of wrap up here. So number one, your compute, okay? Now, there's a lot of options for compute that's out there. This is going to require acceleration, AKA GPUs. So you're going to want compute that can handle the high performance. That's really important. And all the great server vendors that are here have got solutions that actually work for high performance solutions, okay? This is what you need to be looking at. So at the compute layer, don't just pick your favorite server. You need to go and look at what their high compute options are. There's a lot of what they call 8-way servers that can accommodate 8 GPUs per compute. Look at those so they'll give you the best performance. Okay, data intelligence. Why am I not saying storage there? Storage is what you do when you have something and you need to put it somewhere. A drawer in your kitchen is storage. This is much more than storage. AI, more than any other movement that has come around, has shown you that it is more important about what you do with those things rather than just where you put it. You got to put it somewhere secure. You got to know where to find it, but you got to be able to pull it out. You got to make work of it. You got to be able to put it back. You'll be able to find it quick. You do not want to waste time on any of this stuff. You want to move quickly on this. And that's what DDN Exascaler has done. I will say, with this AI movement, there's a lot of folks popping up saying we do great data intelligence and storage. One thing I want to highlight about DDN, Data Direct Networks, has been around for 26 years. I think it's 26, right? 26 years. 27 years. 27 years. We have been in the HPC and supercomputing space for a lot of that time. What does that mean? That means we know how to scale. That means we know how to perform. So I'm pushing really hard because what's going to happen when you do an AI implementation, you're going to start at something small to see if it will work, but you're going to want to scale it, okay? And the worst thing that I have found is when you have built your full AI solution to say your data intelligence and storage is where you're struggling. You don't want that, okay? All right, let's move on. I'll spend a little time on NVIDIA GPUs. H100 obviously available now. GB200 announced right now. These two are fantastic for manufacturing because they do a great job of processing all these data structures that come in manufacturing. That's really important that's here. GB200 also is going to just take that to the next level for simulation. Thank you, bye-bye. Now let's talk about software, okay? NVIDIA has a number of interesting software elements too. Number one is CUDA, okay? You should be very familiar with CUDA. It's very ingrained in how NVIDIA wants to do what it is they're doing with all these AI solutions. I should say, you should go to the NVIDIA.com/industries page. You'll see manufacturing and digital twins there. They're going to be saying a lot of the same things. CUDA, NIMS, Triton Inference Server, and Rapids are 4 software products within NVIDIA that you really need to be looking at. not just because of the generic functionality they can do, but what they can do in manufacturing. When I have a discussion tomorrow around patient analytics, and then on Thursday around reuser data, managing user data, you're going to hear different software packages, okay? Specific to what you're trying to do for digital twins in manufacturing. This is what you need to be looking for. These four software products from NVIDIA. Let's talk networking for a second, okay? InfiniBand is a great option here. I have been speaking to a lot of you who are in manufacturing, and I know how much Ethernet there is that's in your environment today. So if you're having a debate in your head around, I'd love to go and implement an AI-based digital twin solution, but I don't have the time or effort to go through all the InfiniBand option, there's Spectrum X Ethernet from NVIDIA that can do this for you. So my story there, my message to you is, don't wait. This is something we can at least talk about right now. Okay, I promise this will not be so dense going forward. How am I doing on time? 5 minutes? Okay. All right, so one thing you have to think about with manufacturing is you've got a lot of sources of data throughout your manufacturing floor, okay? The question is, how are you going to take all that data and move it to all the places it needs to go? You're seeing, RabbitMQ, a lot of other tools that are out there that can do that. This is important. If you have a digital twin solution that's not capable of moving data to the right places where it needs to be, you're going to have trouble with your performance, okay? Why am I talking about performance? Because I know you as a manufacturer are competing with other manufacturers, okay? This is going to be what's important. Highest quality, fastest output. So having a really good data management middleware component, really important. These are 3 options that are listed there. If there's another option that you're very comfortable using, let's talk. You can drop me an email there. You can pick up a card, and we'll just talk in detail about what you're using. You can tell this. I'm not a manufacturing expert, okay? But you are. So let's talk and tell me, hey, I would have said this differently, or I would use a different tool. Let's have that discussion. All right, let's talk about Kubernetes. Anybody ever heard of Kubernetes? Everybody should raise their hand. Okay. George is shaking his head. Is that a yes? Okay, that's an oh yes. Okay. All right, so most likely in AI, you're going to be using containers. Okay, it's just the way that it does it. Now, there are some use cases where you want to use bare metal at that middleware layer. Some place where you want to use virtualization, okay, in that middleware layer. But in most cases, you're going to be using containers, and you want to do container management. That's what Kubernetes does. On the manufacturing floor, when you're using digital twins and you're using simulations, this is where you're going to want to make sure your containers are managed very properly, okay? Because again, kind of like the middleware data management level, you're going to want to make sure that the containers are using the best amount of resources. If they're not using resources, those resources are made available to other containers, etc. This is what Kubernetes lets you do. Okay, data orchestration and real-time monitoring and visualization. I'm trying to rush a little bit, so sorry about that. Find me afterwards, okay? Data orchestration is how you're actually making this data available and how it's being used by all these other sources. If there's one industry, manufacturing is one where this is going to be key. Extremely, you have too many systems generating data that we're going to manage with the middleware component, but you're going to want to make sure that it's going from the right sensors to the right machinery. It's getting processed and analyzed. It's giving you some insights. You're circling it back. You can take real-time action on these things. This is how you're actually going to get ahead. And on the monitoring and visualization, I'm thinking of tools like Prometheus and Grafana, things like that. Not necessarily saying it's just them, but you can use them here for this model. What real-time monitoring it's monitoring every single component I was just talking about. It's looking at the stats of that. And what things like Grafana will do is give it to you in a format that you can ingest very quickly, very easily. Okay. That sounds like kind of a nice to have. It's really not. You want to be able to move fast, make decisions quickly. All right. All right. So real quick, this kind of summary. It might be something, if you're a manufacturer, that's on your mind right now. Okay. But there's just too many reasons why your competitors are already looking at this. Your competitors are already talking to folks. You should have the discussion right now internally. Happy to have that discussion with you all the way up to the software stack, not just the storage component. But this is going to be something, I don't know, is that me? Okay. It's just going to be something that will define who are the winners and who are second place really, really, really soon when it comes to manufacturing, okay? So there's a lot of plays across the value chain that you're going to see benefit. And this is the one that's the most important one. we are not going to be able to predict. Sorry, I'll move out of the way. We're not going to be able to predict. Is it okay to stand here? Okay. We're not going to be able to predict what the next 6 months are going to look like. We really don't. When the pandemic happened and people started shipping things to their door, a lot of businesses had to shift their model. This is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen in manufacturing. As you deliver product to your suppliers, not to your suppliers, to your customers, their needs are going to change. And as they see AI-enabled tools in other vendors, they're going to be asking the same thing of you. So my challenge to you would be go fast, be first. We're early. I used to say we're super early, but I think we're just regular early now. We can have this discussion now. Let's build this out. These are PowerPoint slides. The number of times we got in front of a whiteboard with a customer, we've gone on site to the customer, we've done a Teams call or a Zoom call and mapped this out in grave detail is consistent. It's often. We can do this. There's no reason to wait on that, okay? And I think I got one. Oh, let me be real clear on the DDN aspect of this. It's really important because you're going to see a lot of places out here saying you should talk about our storage, our way of doing things. Again, storage is where you put something. Data intelligence is what you do with it. And this is really what Exascaler and NVIDIA from DDN does for you, okay? There is a history. A lot of great companies that are out there that are really new to this space. You got 27 years of history that you can look at DDN. We've done, you can look at the top 500 list. You can see what storage they're running. They know how to do scale, okay? We're ready to do that with you. And we are actually working on a full-blown white paper on specifically this topic for manufacturers implementing a digital twin. This is kind of the 6-slide version of what will be like a 13-page white paper in grave detail. Some of you may sleep as you read through it. Okay, he said put your storage wherever you want and front end with this. I love it. He does not work for DDN, ladies and gentlemen, just to be super clear, but I agree. I would agree with that. Put this on the front end. This is what you want. And I'll kind of end with this. I'm here till Friday of this week. I am on a plane on Friday. Find me, drop me a note. We will pull in our friends from NVIDIA if you'd like help. We'd love to talk to you about it. Let's go and make some digital twins work with AI for you as a manufacturer. Thank you very much.